program is The Active Center. It's created by David Sappe.
Pronounced Seppi.
Pronounced Seppi.
Today, we are diving into one of the most beloved sitcoms ever, Frasier, to uncover a secret that was hiding in plain sound. We're talking about its incredibly complex and, honestly, influential musical identity.
So, when you think about what made Frasier so great, your mind probably goes right to the razor-sharp scripts, the amazing comedic timing, or of course, Kelsey Grammer's iconic performance. But what if I told you one of the smartest things about the show wasn't something you saw at all?
That's right. The show's genius went way beyond the dialogue. It was actually woven into the very fabric of its soundtrack, creating this whole other narrative layer that most of us probably only picked up on subconsciously.
At the heart of all this was a kind of deliberate split personality. See, the show's music was built on this fundamental conflict, a tale of two very different sounds that defined everything, from the characters themselves to the city they called home. And this right here really illustrates that central conflict perfectly. On one side, you have classical music. It's intellectual, it's rigid, and it's used to define Frasier and Niles. And on the other side, you've got jazz. It's cosmopolitan, it's fluid, and it creates the whole atmosphere of Seattle. So let's break down that first half.
For the Crane brothers, classical music was never just background noise for their fancy dinner parties. Oh no, it was more like a weapon in their arsenal of snobbery, a really clear symbol of their status.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. This wasn't just about liking opera. For Frasier and Niles, their taste in music was a way to broadcast their class, their education, and, let's be honest, their perceived superiority over pretty much everyone.
And the show used this in such a clever way. The classical score, with composers like Bach and Bizet, drew a clear line around their highbrow world. You know, Frasier's apartment, the opera house. It was also used for laughs, making fun of their snobbery and showing just how disconnected they were from their down-to-earth dad, Martin. So, bottom line, classical music was the sound of the Cranes' elitist little bubble.
Okay, so let's flip to the other side of the coin. If classical music was all about the brothers, then that cool, sophisticated sound of jazz, well, that was the city of Seattle itself.
This quote captures the counterpoint perfectly. While the brothers were all wound up with their string quartets, the world just outside their apartment was laid back, modern, and pulsing with this jazz rhythm. It was like the sound of reality, pushing back against all their pretension.
That jazz score, with its iconic vibraphones and upright bass, is what gave the show its signature cool energy. You'd hear in all the scene transitions, like a bridge between the different bits. It set the mood for romance and really established Seattle as this modern, cosmopolitan place. Jazz was basically the glue that held the show's entire vibe together.
Now, creating this unique sonic world, it wasn't easy, and it definitely wasn't cheap. The producers made a huge financial commitment to musical authenticity that was, frankly, almost unheard of for a sitcom back then.
To put this into perspective, you have to remember, this was the era of cheap, synthesized MIDI scores. Just think about that generic, sometimes kind of cheesy music from other 90s shows. While Frasier completely rejected that whole trend, they went for something way more ambitious and expensive. And the man behind all this was composer Bruce Miller. His philosophy was pretty simple: no faking it. He insisted on hiring real, top-tier session musicians for every single episode to capture that authentic, raw edge you'd hear in an actual jazz club. I mean, that level of dedication is incredible, but it obviously comes with a pretty hefty price tag. So what are we really talking about here in terms of dollars and cents?
Okay, get this. For a single radio jingle, in just one episode, the production spent up to $20,000 to hire a full orchestra and choir. We're talking about a piece of music that's on screen for less than a minute. That is a serious, serious commitment to getting it right.
And that was just one little piece of music. By the final season, a single episode of Frasier cost around $5.2 million to make. And yeah, while the cast salaries were a huge part of that, a significant chunk was always set aside to get the music just right.
But this massive investment really paid off. It created a legacy that went far beyond just the show itself. It created something we can call the Frasier effect. So, what is the Frasier effect? Well, it's the idea that by constantly featuring high culture and spending the money to present it authentically, the show became a kind of gateway. It made things like the symphony and opera seem cool and desirable to this huge mainstream audience, and that created a ripple effect in the music industry.
Let me walk you through it. Step 1. The show puts opera and the symphony front and center.
Step 2, this raises the audience's perception, making these arts feel vital and exciting. And then, Step 3, this creates a long-term benefit, with record labels and streaming services still seeing interest today in music collections inspired by the show.
You know, in the end, it was all about balance. The show's two musical personalities didn't just stay the same. As the series went on and the characters of Frasier and Niles started to soften up and become a little less rigid, that cool, fluid sound of jazz actually became more and more dominant, perfectly mirroring their character arcs. It's just brilliant.
So, ultimately, the music in Frasier wasn't just background noise. It was a storyteller. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What hidden stories are your favorite shows telling you not through their scripts, but through their sound?